So as everyone's aware, over the last 2 months we've had a fantastic summer, which is great for golf. From a maintenance side, it does bring some different problems than we're used to. So as we approach the back end of the season, members will have noticed that we're doing a little bit of individual or specific site overseeding. The reason for this is when we had the very hot dry weather, some areas suffered from moisture stress, but a lot of the damage on the surfaces is actually from heat stress. So the soil temperature lifted to a point where it caused so much stress that we had a weakening of the sward. Visually, there's some small areas on the greens, but from a maintenance point of view, it's actually knocked the weaker grasses back. So the benefit is it gives us some space to get some seed into it. So you'll notice over the next couple of weeks that the team will be picking specific areas and continuing with a shallow spike and pot seeding some fescue and some bent into these areas. So wild growth's at an optimum and the temperatures are great, and there's actually a little bit of moisture around. We're going to take advantage and hit these areas and try and get them to recover before the end of the season. We will also be doing a lot of spiking and coring and seeding over the maintenance week, but we'll dedicate a full video to this over the next 2 weeks. So we've came out to one of these areas I've just discussed, and as you can see, the sward's thinned a little bit, and aesthetically it does cause a little bit of a negative, but with the condition of the rest of the greens, and you know, this is possibly like 0.5% of the surfaces, it's not a problem. But from a maintenance point of view and a progression point of view, it's allowed us to get some space, to get some good grasses into these areas. So the meadowgrass is what's been hit. We'll replace it with some fescue and some bent seed, and with the climate, these areas will recover very quickly with the grass species we want instead of what we were working with. So over the last 4 years, we've intensively hit the rough areas with management, flail and collect. This year is going to be no different. The only difference is we're going to start earlier. With the uncertainty with the climate and how wet it's going to get in the winter, we would like to start a bit earlier. So we're going to start over the next couple of weeks and hit some areas to give us a head start moving into the back end of September and October. So we're hoping to have everything complete by the middle of October, and we're going to hit target areas again in the spring, but just the general progress to further improve the rough areas at Whitley Bay. As we start improving areas a bit more, we're going to reassess our management plan in 2019 to start selectively taking areas out and maybe only manage them every 2 years, just to let that sward develop and not be so aggressive with the areas. But in general, across the course now, we have consistent roughs which add feature to the course, great diversity, but also allow play to flow freely around the course. As well as greens and tees and surrounds, the fairways took quite a hit over the summer with the extreme dry weather and temperatures, as well as restrictions with budget, meaning these areas had the most damage. So we're going to tackle these through the winter as well, hollow core all fairways, but leading up to the winter we're going to selectively pick areas, hollow core them, GUR them off and get some seed into these areas. So if members notice an area which has been worked on, it's just the greens team trying to get back into a standard which we're happy with, and it provides a good environment for golf for the members.